Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Oldies. I want to welcome you to the July 28th, 2018 Vinyl Treasure Show. It's the last Saturday of the month. It's my all 60s edition, so sit back for the next 2 hours. Got some cool 60s 45s. Almost didn't make it here tonight as I am not doing too well, so we'll see how long I can go, if I can even make it, but I think I will. I think I'm doing okay. So we opened up tonight's 60s edition with a surf band from Pomona, California, recorded at a Paul Buff's studio in Cucamonga, California. That's the same place that the Safaris recorded Wipeout and the Shantays recorded Pipeline. This one also produced by Paul Buff. He produced this tune that you just heard by the Esquires, January 64. It's on the Durko label, song entitled Flashin' Red. And hopefully that's what Johnny G is not going to see tonight. So enough of my babbling here. Let's start it off some good soul and garage 45s out of my collection. And we open up the vocal portion with this soul group out of Newark, New Jersey. Just posted it up on my Facebook wall. You can check it out. Their first release came out in 65 on the Jeezy label. Followed it in 66 with a release on New Art. But here is their third, written by Robert Ronnie, and he was also the lead singer. Give a listen to the Ambers. We go back to August 1966. This is on Verve Records. The Ambers with I Love You, Baby. Open up the vocal portion there from August 66. Those are the Ambers. The Ambers on the Verve label. I Love You, Baby is the name of the tune, produced by Howard Fowler and Tom Wilson. Arranged by Horace Ott, and it featured Robert Ronnie. He was on lead there. They also would have a later release on the Smash and also on the Gene record label. Got a lot of records on the Verve label tonight, and Verve Forecast, and Verve Folkways. So if we can get to those, but let's continue here. Let's go to Detroit, Michigan, as this group began recording back in 1961 on the Go-G label. Others followed on Checkmate and Highlight, and this label that I'm featuring, the Midtown label. But although this 45 first came out on Act 4 records. They called themselves the Embers. It went nowhere, but they shopped the record around again. Eventually, Midtown Records picked it up, and the group used their original name. They're known as the Seminoles. We go to April 1965. The Seminoles on the Midtown label. It features Joey Finazzo on lead. These are the Seminoles with You Can Lump It.
I've tried everything that you told me to. I've stopped doing the things you thought that I shouldn't do. I know you've done me wrong, and my love for you is gone. And if you don't like it, well, if you don't like it, I'll tell you what you can do. You can love, yeah, you can love, yeah, you can love, oh baby. You promised me that you would stop running around, but I found out about you. I know what's happening now. Take me for a fool, and I no longer cry for you. And if you don't like it, well, if you don't like it, I'll tell you what you can do. You can love, yeah, you can love, yeah, you can love, oh baby, you can love, now I finally found someone new, and I know that this little girl will soon take the place of you. I know she'll treat me nice, and everything will be alright. And if you don't like it, well, if you don't like it, I'll tell you what you can do. You can love, yeah, you can love, yeah, you can love, oh baby. You can love, baby. You can love, yeah, you can love, baby. You can love, yeah, you can love, baby.
April 65 sound there for the Seminoles. The Seminoles featured it on the Midtown label. You Can Lump It. Joey Finazzo, he's the lead singer of the group. Earlier in his career, he was the lead singer or a member of a group known as the Laredos. The Laredos that recorded on the Fox label back in the late 1950s. There he is on lead with the Seminoles as we continue here for the All 60s edition. Next is a husband and wife team from St. Louis, Missouri, and he was from Clarksdale, Mississippi originally. She was from Nutbush, Tennessee, and they were Ike Turner and Anna Mae Bullock, better known as Ike and Tina Turner. She began singing in Ike's band. They were known as the Kings of Rhythm as Ike and Tina Turner. Their first single debuted in 1960 on the Sue label. You may know the song A Fool in Love. So many others followed after that, but here they are doing a cover of a Chuck Jackson song from 1963, came out on the Juan label. This is the first of two they recorded on the Loma label. This one bubbled under at number 106, but was a big number 17 on WAME out of Miami, Florida. We go to February 1965. Ike and Tina Turner on Loma and their rendition of the tune Tell Her I'm Not Home.
Hello?
Hello, may I please speak to...
I don't want to talk to the girl till I ain't home.
He's not home.
Thank you.
Don't you lie to me. Don't lie, don't you lie to me. Don't you lie to me.
If you don't want me, tell me not to phone. Every time I call you on the phone,
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. The first of two on Loma Records. Ike and Tina Turner, their February 65 release. I think I said Tell Him. That is the female version of the Chuck Jackson tune, Tell Her I'm Not Home. And unfortunate that we lost Ike Turner December 12th of 2007. He died of a cocaine overdose. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, this next female artist, she was born in Coffeyville, Kansas, but she moved to Los Angeles, California, and was the sister of Cornell Gunter of the Flares. And she started out singing with a 1950s female vocal group. They were known as the Queens, had releases on Flair and Modern and other labels. And I usually feature her on my 50s edition, but here is a solo release that she did on the Tangerine label. It's from January of 65. Shirley Gunter's her name, Tangerine Records. The name of the tune is called Stuck Up. January 65 release there, Shirley Gunter. Shirley Gunter, mostly known for her 1950s releases. That one there from 65. Tangerine Records, song entitled Stuck Up. Who's on Tangerine? The Raylettes, the Percy Mayfield, the Ray Charles Orchestra. There's a couple of jazz 45s on there. Who else is on Tangerine Records? Anyway, unfortunately, we lost Shirley on December 2nd, 2015. She was 81 years old, but we remember her here on the Vinyl Treasure Show as we continue here. Now, this next 45 made its Top Shelf Oldies debut back in August. I think it was August 26, 2005. I was a guest collector on a Dave the Raves Relics and Rarities show, and I brought about 245s down, and he picked this one out to play and to test play all the records. And I don't know if he's since found a copy, but that's when it first hit the TSO airwaves. This artist, originally from I think it's Beckley, West Virginia, but relocated to Detroit, Michigan in the late 1950s, and is best known for his 1967 MGM hit, Stand By Me. Now, his real name is Dwight Turner, but we know him as Spider Turner, and he first started recording in 64 on the Chautauqua label, but here is one that's in demand to those Northern Soul collectors. It's on the Good Time label. It was first recorded in 1966 by Kenny Carter on RCA, which is a slower version. I think this is the better version. Let's give a listen to this cover by Spider Turner, spelled with an I on this release. It's on Good Time Records, 1966. The name of the tune is called I've Got to Get Myself Together. Cover tunes here on the 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. Yes, Warren, that is another 10 or 25 cent purchase. What do you want? That's all worth every penny that I paid for that record. Spider Turner with an I, 1966, a cover of the Kenny Carter song, I've Got to Get Myself Together, parentheses, Before I Lose My Mind. And like I said, I played that on Dave the Rave's Relics and Rarities show back in 2005. It was right before I opened up here on Top Shelf with my own show in September of that year, and have been on since. As we move on here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, on the last 60 show, I featured the A-side of this 45, the group's second of 4 on Don Roby's Sure Shot label out of Houston, Texas. I played the side called Two at a Time. I think, Warren, you liked that side by this group. I also liked the B-side for this trio who were the sons of blues legend Arthur Big Boy Crudup. They were George James and Jones Crudup. They recorded as the Malibus. We go to March of 66, the Malibus on Sure Shot. This is a B-side. It's called I Had a Dream.
Stranger, he kept watching you. I've got a feeling you want him to. Now do you want him, baby? You know I need you, baby. Come on back to me. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know dreams are crazy. It all started last night. Yeah, I'm not saying you're cheating, baby, but I've got a feeling that things just ain't right. No, 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 no. You were in his arms as he turned on his charm. I'm sure he didn't want to let you go. Oh, he's not for you. Can't you see? Come on back to me. Come on back, baby. You know I'm begging you, pretty baby. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes, Warren, killer soul ballad there by the Malibus. That's the B-side of the 45. The Malibus' March 1966 release, I Had a Dream, is the name of the tune. Came out on the Sure Shot record label. That's the second of 4 they recorded on Sure Shot. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening, hoping to last. Hopefully I'm not fading, not yet, but let's continue here. For this next singer, goes by the name of Benzine. I think that's how you pronounce it. If you could check it out on 45 Cat. His name is Benzine. Came out on the Parkway record label out of Philadelphia, PA, but in reality, it's an alias for Bronx, New York native Ernie Maresca. Now, Ernie was a very talented writer, had many hit songs like Run Around Sue and The Wanderer, just to name a few, but he also had a top 10 national hit in 62 on Seville, Shout, Shout, Knock Yourself Out. But here's a song that he co-wrote, produced, and arranged. This one from July 1966. It's Benzine, I think is how he wanted it to be, kind of playing a joke, but it's spelled Z-I-N-E. It's on Parkway Records. It's really Ernie Maresca, and the song is called Village of Tears.
As a cloud cried over you, as the crowd avoided you, do you feel the pain and the hurt inside? No matter what you do, you're never satisfied. Come along with me, come on along with me to the village of the sun shines through the day. Does a shadow block your way? You played the game of love, but you couldn't win. Now you're all alone, so forget about him and come along with me. Come on along with me to the village of tears. Dry your tears, have no fears, 'cause you will see a new world awaits beyond the gates, so follow me. And when you leave the village of tears, all your fears will have disappeared. You'll find yourself to be a complete new girl. The sun will shine again in a brand new world. So come along with me, come on along with me to the village of tears. I said the village of tears. Come on along to the village of tears.
So how do you pronounce that? Do you think it's benzine? Because I was talking to Dave about this record. He said benzine, but I don't know. Either way, it's really Ernie Maresca on Parkway Records. Village of Tears is the name of the tune from July 1966. And he co-wrote, produced, and arranged that 45. And unfortunately, he passed away July 8th of 2015 at the age of 76 after an illness, as we remember here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's continue. And let's stay in New York, but this group, they are from Brooklyn, New York, and they're called The Living End, and this song is written by Chris Spurrier, who happens to be the lead singer of the group. We go to January 1966. It's on the Mira label, The Living End, with I Need a Lot of Lovin'.
I pray to the angels up above to send someone to love. Oh, please, I need a lot of loving. I pray to the angels up above to send someone to love. Oh, please, I need a lot of loving. Well, I said, I'm running out, you better hurry up. I'm running out, you better hurry up. Last night, I'm sorry I made you cry. I didn't even care to say goodbye. Oh, baby, come on, love me now. Well, I said, I'm running out, you better hurry up. Oh, hurry up now, yeah. I'm running out, you better hurry up. Hey, baby, work out,
January 6th. Ooh, that's a cold ending. January 66 for a group known as The Living End. The Living End featured Chris Spurrier. He's the lead singer. The song entitled I Need a Lot of Lovin', parentheses, time is running out. It's on the Mira label, and they have another one on the Divinus label, and later they recorded 3 in the early 70s on Jubilee as The Front Porch. As we continue here on the 60s edition, we stay in the same month and year, January 1966, for this duet, as they are Jim Glover and Gene Ray. Jim was from Ohio, Gene was from New York, and this is their first release on the Verve Folkways label, written by Phil Oakes, and this one produced by Tim Wilson. We go to January 1966. Give a listen to Jim and Gene on Verve Folkways and their tune called Changes.
sit by my side, come as close as the air, share in a memory of rain, and wander in my words, dream about the pictures that I paint with changes.
The world's spinning madly, it drifts in the dark, swings through our hollow days, a race around the stars, a journey through the
your tears will be trembling. Now we're somewhere else. One last cup of wine we will pour, and I'll kiss you one more time and leave you on the rolling river shore of changes. Sit by my side, come as close as the air, sharing a memory of gray, and wander in my world, and dream about the pictures that I play with changes, and wander in my world, dream about the pictures that I play with changes.
Cover tunes here on the 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. Phil Oakes recorded that first. Thank you guys in the chat room. But that's a cover there by Jim and Gene, Jim Glover, Gene Ray, January 1966 on Verve Folkways, song entitled Changing. I think their other two came out on the Verve Forecast label as Johnny G loses his breath. Yes, I do. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, I featured this next song on previous 60s edition, but on a different label, on the Mirror label. I played this one, and that Mirror single was also featured in a 1967 American Bandstand Radar Records segment, and that's the first time I ever heard this song. But the first press came out on a label called Pacific Challenger, and the artist's name is Bob Youngs. And let's give a listen to this Pacific Challenger version, which is much slower and longer. Of course, the Mirror version is 2 minutes and 14 seconds. This version is 2 minutes and 35 seconds. As we go back to February 67 for Bob Youngs on Pacific Challenger and his tunes called Goodbye to Yesterdays.
Each time I see the falling rain, then I will cry for you in vain. Oh, yeah. I just can't bring myself to say goodbye to yesterday.
February 67 release there. Bob Youngs with an S is his name. That is the first press on Pacific Challenger. Goodbye to Yesterday's. I think what they did, the Mira release, they took that same recording and they sped it up. So if you can check out the Mira cut of that, you'll see how much faster that Mira 45 is. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on these cool 1960s tunes. Here's another 45 that's made its debut back in August of 2005. Heard first here on the Top Shelf Oldie Network when I was a guest collector at Dave the Rave's Relics and Rarities. I was in his No Static attic, and I brought about 245s. And he said, well, any record you bring here and that I don't have, I get to tape on a CD. And he did that for sure. But he did find a lot of the records on that CD anyway. But this was one of the ones that Dave selected. This artist born in Essex, England, but he moved to Canada where he performed. Then in the U.S., his real name was Roy Hockley. And he recorded under the name Sebastian Shane, and he recorded 2 on the Lucky 11 label. Let's give a listen to his first. We go to September of 67, Sebastian Shane on Lucky 11, and the name of the tune is called Hey Everybody.
Hey everybody, I got a message for you. Hey everybody, I'm gonna tell you what to do. Your love's gone now, if you're alone now, you'll be surprised what some dancing can do. Hey everybody, don't you worry about a thing. We never know what tomorrow may bring. A little crying, so stop your crying. You'll be surprised what some dancing can do. It takes one to know one. That's the reason I understand. I used to be a lonely one, but now I'm a happy man. Everybody, I got a message for you. Hey everybody, I'm gonna tell you what to do. Don't be a sad one, or you can have fun. You'll be surprised what some dancing can do.
Sebastian Shane's his name. September 67 release. It's on Lucky 11. Yes, that's the same label that Terry Knight and the Pack have their recording. Sebastian Shane, first of 2 with Hey Everybody. Hey everybody, tune into the Vinyl Treasure Show every Saturday from 10 to midnight. We are in the All 60s edition here the last Saturday of every month. So let's continue. We got a gal out of Houston, Texas now. When I first heard this record, I was like, I don't think I have this 45 by Sandy Posey. I was so sure this gal was Sandy Posey, but I was shocked that it wasn't, because this song does, or this gal, she sounds a lot like Sandy Posey. It's on Huey Moe's Pacemaker label. We go to 1968. Her name is Rain Allison. Rain Allison on Pacemaker Records, and the name of the tune is called A Woman's World.
A woman's world can sometimes get so blue. Your man goes off to work and there's no one home but you. Although you've become his wife, you don't get to share as you live in a woman's world. A woman's born to make a man a home. You cook and clean and sew all the time that he is gone. But when he comes walking in, somehow you forget what a hard day it's been when you live in a woman's world. He may not realize the things that you go through, but you don't mind as long as he loves you. A woman's world has heartaches in it too. Sometimes you may get hurt by some things that he may do, but soon everything's alright. You're back in his arms and he's holding you tight, and you're glad you live in a woman's world. You're so glad you live in a woman's world. He makes you glad you live in a woman's world.
Everything about that 45 says it's Sandy Posey, but it is not her. Sounds like her single girl. Yes, Big Al, it definitely does. But that's a Rain Allison 1968 release, Pacemaker Records, A Woman's World. The topic is a Sandy Posey record. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on these tunes. And let's continue here. This next singer was a member of the Blues Project. He had 2 solo singles on the Verve Forecast label, and here's his second, and it's a song he wrote. So let's give a listen to Tommy Flanders. This one also, again, I mentioned Tom Wilson. He produced this one also. It supposedly features Frank Zappa on guitar, and we go to 1970, September 1970 for this one. Tommy Flanders on Verve Forecast. It's called Friday Night City.
Sounds of a Friday night city, standing on the corner saying hello, hi. They're standing on the corner of Bleecker and McDougal, with nothing for me to do but watch the people go by. Deep within the sounds of a Friday night city, staring through a window at the cool night air, thinking of the times I've had, times made me glad, wondering just how much more of trouble I'll share. Well, there's a Friday night city, and it's not too far. It's just as far away as a subway car. Whether east or west, you can look for that sign, either Old West 4th Street or the 8th Ave line. Listen to the sounds of a Friday night city, hearing spirits stirring in a lamppost light, shining brightly to the ground, spreading magic all around, so everyone can see their way down Bleecker at night. Downtown in Manhattan, there's a weekend kind of city, a place for me to go when any weekend night is here, a place to walk and talk and carry on when I get lonely, and listen to the music of the traffic in my ear. Yes, there's a Friday night city, and it's not so far. It's just as far away as a subway car. Whether east or west, you can look for that sign, either Old West 4th Street or the 8th Ave line. So come on down, maybe we'll go down to the line. Yeah, let's see who's playing at the night out. I'll take a while around the corner by the Village Gate.
That's Tommy Flanders. Tommy Flanders, he was a member of the Blues Project. This was September 1970. Verve Forecast Records, Friday Night City. It's a Saturday Night City here on the Vinyl Treasure Show as we continue here. Haven't featured these gals from Queens, New York in quite a while. They recorded 11 for the Redbird record label. Here is their fifth, written by Ellie Greenwich and her then husband, Jeff Barry, as this song didn't do as well as some of their others did. It only made it up to number 75 on Cashbox, 53 on Billboard, but number 13 on WOLF out of Syracuse, New York. Also did 13 on KOVO in Provo, Utah. Let's go to March of 65, Redbird Records. You know I'm talking about the Shangri-Las and their tune. It's called Out in the Streets.
With the gang no more, and he don't do the wild things that he did before. He used to act bad, used to, but he quit. It makes me so sad, 'cause I know that he did for me, and I can see he's still in the street. His heart is out in the street.
As Mary Weiss and the Shangri-Las, March 65 release, Redbird Records, Out in the Streets, the name of the tune. When you want that record, you want it on the vinyl promo. Those styrene Redbird presses, they are a no-no to Johnny G, and that was a styrene one. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, how about a twin spin on the Redbird record label, although this next singer and songwriter, he's from Brooklyn, New York. His real name was Barry Iberman, and one of pop music's most prolific songwriters, in partnership with his wife Cynthia Weil, married in August of 61, wrote so many great tunes. He also had a big national top 10 hit on ABC Paramount in 61 with Who Put the Bump and Others on ABC Paramount. And here's a song he wrote together with his wife Cynthia Weil, arranged by Trade Martin. This one charted 94 on Billboard. This was number 7 on KFXM in San Bernardino, California. Let's go to October 64 for Barry Mann on Redbird, and his tune called Talk to Me Baby.
sing. A little girl, you gotta explain. Say anything, but baby, don't say we're through. Did I forget your birthday? Did I forget to call? Girls get mad at such little things. How can a guy ever think of them all? Hey pretty, please now talk to me, baby. Sweet little thing, you're driving me crazy. Give me a break and do what I tell you to. I don't care what I did that's wrong. Just come right here where you belong, and I'll find a way to make it all up to you. I gotta know right now. Come on and talk to me, baby. You gotta say something, honey. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Now that Styrene Redbird does play pretty nice. That is Barry Mann. Barry Mann, October 64 release on the Redbird record label. Talk to Me Baby is the name of the tune as we move on here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We stay in Brooklyn, though, for this next artist. Began his career back in 1958 recording for Big Top Records. Also recorded as Bobby and the Consoles on the Diamond label in 63. Then in 68 he changed his name to Robert John, but his real name is Bobby Pedrick Jr. Now here is one he did for Verve Records. Told you I pulled some Verve 45s out tonight. It's the B-side of this Verve release from May of 66. Bobby Pedrick on Verve with his tune called, I think it's pronounced K-Reen. No, K-Reen. I think that's how you say it. K-Reen.
My, how you have changed, Carrie. You never smile anymore, Carrie. You never laugh anymore, Carrie. I don't know what to make of you, Carrie. You never used to be, Carrie. So sad, so lonely, Carrie. I don't know what to make of you, Carrie. I'd give the world to know why you're so sad, so sad. I'd give this world if I ever treated you bad. And I sit and wonder why there's teardrops in your eyes. I don't know what to make of you, Carrie. My Carrie. I give the world to know why you're so sad, so sad. I do this world if I ever treated you bad. You never smile anymore, Carrie. You never laugh anymore, Carrie. I don't know what to make of you, Carrie. I don't know what to make of you, Carrie. I don't know what to make of.
That's actually a B-side, believe it or not. Kareen is the name of the tune. Bobby Pedrick there, May 1966 release. That's on the Verve record label. That's the B-side. The A-side is actually a pretty decent cover of the Chantels' Maybe in a much higher falsetto voice by Bobby Pedrick. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, this next artist born in Elberton, Georgia, but he moved to Philadelphia when he was 4 years old, and he became a member of the 50s vocal group known known as the Gaynors, and included lead singer Garnet Mims. He was the lead of the Gaynors, and the group signed with Mercury Records, but then he left that group and in 1966 he met up with Jerry Ragavoy, who penned his debut 45, which came out on Ragavoy's Utopia label, which would then get picked up by Verve Records, and it was his second of 8 releases on the Verve label. Let's go back to November of 66 for Howard Tate. Howard Tate on Verve, and his tune called Half a Man.
I see that it's the truth, what they say. A man must have a woman to make life pay. I may walk tall, I may look strong, that's just a knack, it won't last long. A man without a woman by his side is only half a man. Baby, 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 what good is making money, money if you're not there? I come home feeling tired, tired, and no one cares. Oh no, it's when I'm alone in the dark, that's when my heart comes all apart. 'Cause a man without a woman by his side is only half a man. I'm only getting half of all that life can be given. Now but I can't help you, I got the heart of man. I learned it all the hard way, since you're gone. Without you here beside me, I can't go on. Oh no, it's when I'm alone in the dark. Baby, my heart comes apart. 'Cause a man without a woman by his side is only half a man. Only half a man. Baby, 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 he's only half a man. He's only half a man.
That's a cool soul tune there from November 66. Mr. Howard Tate. Howard Tate is second of 8 on the Verve record label. Half a Man is the name of the tune. Unfortunately, we lost Howard Tate on December 2nd, 2011. He was 72 years old, passed away from leukemia. We remember him here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's continue here, and here's another flip side from last month's 60s show. This female singer from Detroit, Michigan, I played the A-side of her first RCA release, a song entitled What Can I Do? So let's give a spin to the B-side before I file it back in the No Humidity basement. Both sides of this 45 written by Nick Ashford and Mike Terry. This one from March of 66. Her name is Lorraine Chandler. Lorraine Chandler on RCA Records. The song is called Tell Me You're Mine.
Get you someday.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. It's a great two-sided 45 on the RCA label. Lorraine Chandler's her name. March 66 release, Tell Me You're Mine, on the RCA record label. This originally came out on the Giant label, then was picked up by RCA Records, but that was her first record. Johnny G here, continuing with the 1960s. This girl group, they're from Atlantic City, New Jersey. They all met while in high school. Now, the group consisted of Monique Fords, Johnny Lee Manning, Lynn Fields, and Charlotta Gilbert. Collectively, they were known as the Debs, and this is on Lloyd Price's Double L record label. It features Charlotta Gilbert on lead. We go to November of 63. The Debs on Double L. Their tune is called Danger Ahead. As a girl group there, the Debs, the name of the group. Charlotta Gilbert, she's the lead singer. November 63 release on the Double L. That's Lloyd Price's Double L record label. Danger Ahead is the name of the tune. Hopefully not Danger Ahead for Johnny G. Got to say hello to my cousin Jay Manella. Jay Manella and all the union guys at the union office tuned into the Vinyl Treasure Show. Hope you're digging on these cool soul and garage and all kinds of records out of my collection as we continue here. Actually, up next, we have a little bit of a battle of the groups. These next two 45s that I'm playing, the song they are singing is a Richie Cordell pen tune. It's called My Baby's Coming Home, and I want you to tell me which one is better, which one you think is the better recording. First up is the original version of the song, which is the B-side to a record I played on last month's 60s edition. This group out of New Haven, Connecticut, they were called Harry Janes and the Janemen. I played the A-side. It was called On This Busy Sidewalk, but we're going to flip it over, and this is the first part of our Battle of the Groups from March of 65, Josie Records, Harry Janes and the Janemen, and their rendition of My Baby's Coming Home.
My baby called me on the phone today. She told me she was on her way. My baby's coming home. My baby's coming home. Soon there's gonna be a knock on my door, and I won't be alone anymore. My baby's coming home. My baby's coming home. Now there'll be no more sleepless nights. Everything is gonna be alright. Things will be like they used to be. My baby will be holding me. I'm gonna dust off her favorite chair. I just can't wait to see her sitting there. My baby's coming home. My baby's coming home. My baby's coming home. I wanna tell you right now, my baby's coming home. I just can't wait to see her sitting there. She's coming home. Things is gonna be alright.
Okay, that's the original version of the tune by Harry Janes and the Janemen. That came out in March of 65 on the Josie label, their rendition of My Baby's Coming Home. Now here is the other rendition of the tune by this singer named Spencer. Really, Robert Spencer's his name. I played the A-side of his first of two on the Midtown label on the last 60 show. It was called We Got a Love That's Out of Sight, but this is the B-side of that record, and this one came out in December of 65. So tell me if this one's better or the first one. This is the second one by Spencer, December 65 on Midtown, his rendition of My Baby's Coming Home.
My baby called me on the phone today. She told me she was on her way. My baby's coming home. My baby's coming home. Soon there's gonna be a knock on my door, and I won't be alone anymore. My baby's coming home. My
the dust off your favorite chair. I just can't wait to see her sitting there. My baby's coming home. My baby's coming home, not where she belongs. Oh, my baby's coming home. My baby's coming home. My baby's coming home.
Well, I like both of those records. I really do. I think they're both really good in their own right. But we just heard Spencer from December 65 on the Midtown label, the B-side of his 45, Robert Spencer, My Baby's Coming Home Now. He was a member of Howard Guyton's Pearls that recorded for the Onyx label in the late 1950s. But the writer credit on this one is Richard Rosenblatt, who is the real name of, or Richie Cordell's a real name. And the other one had said Richie Cordell was the writer, which is, of course, that's what he used in the music industry. Anyway, it's cool to play the two records together anyway. Johnny G babbling on here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue. And here is another Verve 45. This artist, though, recorded two on Verve. His name is Billy Prince, and he's doing a cover of a Spencer Davis Group song, probably because Jimmy Miller, who produced his record, also produced the song for the Spencer Davis Group. So let's give a listen to Billy Prince from November 66 on Verve Records and his rendition of the tune Somebody Help Me.
Somebody help me, yeah. Won't somebody tell me what I've done wrong? When I was just a little boy of 17, I had a girl, she was my queen. Oh yeah, now, but she didn't love me like I loved her. Now I know. Lord knows I'm so unhappy on my own. Yeah, now. Somebody help me now. Somebody help me, yeah. Somebody tell me what I've done wrong. Hey, I need someone in my life. I need a girl to hold me tight. Somebody who can make me feel alright. Yeah. Somebody help me now. Somebody help me, yeah. Won't somebody tell me what I've done wrong? Because she didn't love me like I loved her. Now I know. Lord knows that's why I'm so unhappy on my own. Yeah. Somebody help me now. Somebody help me, yeah. Won't somebody tell me what I've done wrong? Somebody help me now. Yeah. Somebody help me, yeah. Somebody help me now. Somebody help me, yeah. Somebody help me now.
Cover tunes here on the 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's Billy Prince. Billy Prince, November 66 release on Verve Records, Somebody Help Me. The original by the Spencer Davis Group, that came out in May of 66, and that is a cool cover. Johnny G here, continuing with the 60s edition, and was saddened to hear of the passing of Eugene Pitt, lead singer of the Jive 5. And on my last 60s show, I closed the show with a March 68 release, a tune called Sugar Don't Take Away My Candy. That one came out on the Music Core label. I have a twin spin on United Artists as we pay tribute to the late Eugene Pitt. Now, their biggest hit on United Artists was their second release, a song entitled I'm a Happy Man, and they followed it up with a song called Bench in the Park. But let's give a listen to the B-side of that 45. This one produced by Otis Pollard, arranged and conducted by Horace Ott. We go to September 1965, the Jive 5, United Artists Records, with the late Eugene Pitt on lead, and a B-side. It's called Please Baby Please Come Back. No, Please Baby Please Come On Back to Me.
If tears will make you love me, then I would cry, cry. You know I'd cry. If life will make you believe in me, then I would lie, lie. You know I'd have lied. Once you had love for me, and you really, really needed me, but I turned my back. Now I want you back. Please, baby, please, come on back to me. 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 Please, baby, please, come on back to me. If you won't ever come back to me, then I'll know why. You know I know why. Forgiveness isn't so hard to do. Baby, please try, try. Baby, please try. I'll never forgive myself letting you walk out on me. Now I want you back. I need you, baby. Baby, please, come on back to me. 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 Please, baby, please, come on back to me. Come on back to me. Come on back to me. Come on back to me, baby. Come on back to me, please. Come on back.
That's the late Eugene Pitt, lead singer of the Jive 5. That's the B-side to their third release on United Artists. Please, Baby, Please Come Back to Me is the name of the tune, and that B-side was the third of 7 on United Artists. Bench in the Park made it up to number 106 on the Billboard Bubbling Under charts, and we got a twin spin here. Let's go to their fourth release, which was a song called Goin' Wild that did not make the national charts, but let's give a listen to the B-side of that 45, which again was produced by Otis Pollard, and again arranged and conducted by Horace Ott, as we pay tribute to the late Eugene Pitt and the Jive 5. This one from March of 66, the Jive 5 on United Artists, with another B-side. It's called Main Street.
When you're walking down Main Street, anywhere USA,
down the street from the small sidewalk cafe. And when you're finished up working and your pockets are full of pay, on a Friday night beneath the neon lights is where you'll wanna stay. Main Street, hang on the corner, Main Street, do what you wanna, Main Street, anywhere USA. Oh yeah, walking down Main Street, baby. The neon lights are shining bright. Oh, it looks so pretty at night.
That's the late Eugene Pitt and the Jive 5. That's a B-side to their fourth release on United Artists Records, Main Street, March 66 release, as I mentioned, on United Artists, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. For this gal from Detroit, Michigan, she won a local talent contest at age 15, and the prize was a contract with Motown Records. It resulted in 3 releases on Berry Gordy Jr.'s Motown label. Let's give a listen to her second, which made it up to number 34 on the Billboard R&B chart. And this one from August of 64. Give a listen to Carolyn Crawford. Carolyn Crawford on Motown, and her tune called My Smile Is Just a Frown Upside Down.
If you should see me and I'm smiling, don't think my smile is for real. No expression could explain how much my heart's in pain. Since you left me, here's how I feel. My smile is just a frown turned upside down. Just a frown turned upside down. But each time when I'm alone, teardrops start to fall. My tears erase the light that's on my face, 'cause it's really not a smile at all. My smile is just a frown, yeah, turned upside down, yeah, yeah, just a frown turned upside and if by chance you hear me laughing, I only laugh to fool the crowd. Just like Pagliacci did, I'll keep my sadness here, and to do this I laugh out loud. My smile is just a frown, yeah, turned upside down. I may look happy when I smile, but really all the while my smile is just a frown, yeah, yeah, turned upside down. I may appear to agree, but really deep within my smile is just a frown, oh, turned upside down.
The sound of Motown here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Carolyn Crawford is her name. August 1964 release. That is her second release on the Motown record label. My Smile Is Just a Frown, Upside Down is the name of the tune. Now, she would have later releases on Philly International and Mercury Records, and in 72 she joined Hodges, James, Smith, and Crawford in the early 1970s. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Told you I pulled out a lot of 45s on the Verve label. Here is another one. This is a girl group as we go back to Verve Records. They are probably out of New York and appears to be their only release, written and produced by Gordon Evans and Joe Simmons, whoever they are, but group is called the Velvetones. Velvetones, we go to April 67 on Verve, and their tune, it's called What Can the Matter Be? It sounds like a Motown record on the Verve label. The Velvetones, the name of the group, April 67 release. What Can the Matter Be is the name of that one, Verve Records. How about a twin spin on the Verve record label? I tell you, went through a box of Verve 45s, and this is another unknown artist, although I did find out who this guy was, because then I do have another record by this artist, but his name is Virgil Blanding, Blanding, Virgil Blanding, and he has an earlier release in 64 on the RVA label and a later release in 68 on the Moonshot label, but he also recorded as Gil Blanding on Ready and Virgil Henry on Colossus and Tamla. That is another like Northern Soul record, this Virgil Henry record on Tamla from 69 or 70. But here is one from August 66, Virgil Blanding on Verve. It's called You Turn Me Around.
No matter where I go, and I run to you. Oh yeah, you make me change my clothes. I forget the things I said I could do. 'Cause you slow me down and you turn me around. Baby, the way you turn me on
hear your voice. Oh yeah, that's all I wanna hear. It's music to my ear. You give me no choice. Could you slow me down and you turn me around? Every time you catch my eye, I stop dead in my track. Baby, every time you pass me by, I meet myself coming back. My will is not my own, yeah. You got me in your power. Oh yeah, you got a hold on me, puts me in a spell each living hour. 'Cause you slow me down and you turn me round. Every time I catch my eye, I stop dead in my track. Baby, every time you pass me by, I meet myself coming back. My will is not my own, yeah. You got me in your power. Oh yeah, you got a hold on me, put me in a spell each living hour. 'Cause you slow me down and you turn me round. Baby, don't you know you slow me down and you turn me round? Oh yeah, don't you know you got a hold on me?
August 66 on the Verve label. Lots of Verve 45s tonight. Virgil Blanding's his name. You Turn Me Around is the name of the tune. John G, not turning around. I got the AC off. I don't know. I got to really go see the doctor because I've been having some issues with, I never get swollen ankles, but I'm worried about that too with a lot of medical issues. So it's doctor's appointments this week, and hopefully John G will be back on his feet soon enough as we continue here. Really love this next tune by this singer from Westport, Mississippi. He relocated to Chicago, Illinois, had a number of releases on various labels: Blue Rock, Brunswick, Date, Mercury, Wand, and more. This is the second of two that he recorded on the Bright Star record label. Let's go to August of 66, same time period as that Virgil Blanding record. Give a listen to Johnny Moore. Johnny Moore on Bright Star, and his tune, it's called It May Be Tears of Joy.
There he goes, holding hands with my baby, and she seems as happy as can be, but I see a tear
Scratchy 45s here for a Saturday evening. Johnny Moore's his name, August 66 release. It May Be Tears of Joy. That one there on the Bright Star record label. That's what Johnny G's going to have when I get by all these medical issues as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. This female gospel singer was from Philadelphia, PA. She was the leader of a gospel group known as the Famous Ward Singers in the 40s and in the 50s. And she also had solo releases on various labels starting in 1950, mainly on Savoy Records. Now, here is the first of 4 that she recorded to on Verve Records, believe it or not, as we go back to Verve. And it's a cover song first done by the Beatles in 1965 on Capitol. This one arranged by Charlie Colello. We go to February 1966 for Clara Ward on Verve, and her rendition of the Beatles song, Help. Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one produced by Charlie Colello. Clara Ward, yes, John, a female gospel singer, February 66 release, Verve Records, her rendition of the tune Help. I think the flip side is another Beatles record. Maybe she did an album of Beatle covers. I don't know, but unfortunately she passed away on January 16th, 1973 from a stroke. But that is a pretty interesting cover tune. As we continue here on the 60s edition, we just heard a Beatles song. How about a group that sounds like the Beatles, and they are from Canada? Hence the name, the Canadian Beatles. It's spelled Beadles, and they hail from Ontario, Canada, but they recorded this song in Los Angeles, California for the Tide label. It features Vic Blunt on lead. We go to 1965, the Canadian Beatles, and it's on Tide Records. It's called I'll Show You the Way.
If you love me, then let me know it. If you love me, you gotta show it. If you care, I'll be there. I'll show you the way. I need your love, I just can't hide it. I need your So many times love is lost and hearts are left broken, because these three little words is never were spoken. I'll take your hand and try to guide you. If you want me, I'll be beside you. Say you care, I'll be there. I'll show you the way. If you care, I'll be there. I'll show you the way. So many times love is lost and hearts are left broken, because these three little words you never were spoken. I'll take your hand and try to guide you. If you want me, I'll be beside you. Say you care, I'll be there. I'll show you the way. I'll show you the way. I'll show you the way.
Yeah, trying to sound like the Beatles there, but they're the Canadian Bead, B-E-A-D. LES 1965. I'll show you the way. That one there on the Tide record label, and they would have a later release on Tide as Vic, Paul, and Bruce. I don't know what the record is, but they did. As we continue here on the 60s edition, how about we play another group that sounds a little bit like the Beatles, but they're out of Bakersville, California, and this is their debut single on the FG label. They're called the Avengers. They have some pretty rare garage 45s. Yes, they do. But this one's from May of 65. FG Records, The Avengers, with a tune called When It's Over.
When it's over, when it's over, you say that you love me. I know you want to. You threw my heart around and broke it in two. When it's over, when it's over, the things you whispered in my ear, you weren't sincere. I never thought I'd wish the day that you weren't here. When it's over, when it's over, things you said to me like what I said at home and cried over you. When it's over, when it's over, things you said to me like what I said at home and cried over you. When it's over, when it's over, you're gonna lose my love someday. You probably won't care. As I think about it now, I'll just breathe there. But when it's over, when it's over, when it's over, when it's over, yeah.
May 1965 release there. They're called The Avengers. The Avengers on the FG record label, song entitled When It's Over. It's almost over here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We'll continue for a little bit more here. This next female singer started out in Northern Ireland when she teamed up in 1960 with a male instrumental group known as the Marvettes. And she married the guitar player. His name was Trevor Burns, and she became Margot Burns. And other members were Ron Chimes on keyboards, Carson Boyd on drums, Brian Huddleston on sax, and Les McShirley on bass. And in 63, they relocated to London, where they recorded this 45. It was released in the U.S. on the American Arts label label out of Pittsburgh, PA, and the tune written by Gordon Mile, who is Tom Jones's manager, and she's not to be confused with another Irish country singer by the name of Margot. But anyway, let's give it a spin here. September 64 by Margot and the Marvettes on American Arts. It's called Say You Will.
Say you will if you ever change your mind. Say you will, and then baby you'll find I'll be there by your side with a love I cannot hide. Please be mine. Say you will. Say you will.
Margot and the Marvettes on American Arts Records. September 64 release, song entitled Say You Will. Say You Will come back next Saturday. No, I won't be here next Saturday. I will be at a birthday party, I think in New Jersey. So either I'll be on with an encore show or somebody will be filling in, probably an encore show. I got to set it up with Hi-Fi Tim. But let's continue here. Up next, a group out of Los Angeles, California. They recorded 2 on the Decca record label. This one produced and arranged by Gary Usher. The song written by group member Ronald Weiser. The first of 2 for this group. They're called the L.A. Teens. The L.A. Teens, March 65. It's called You'll Come Running Back.
You come running back when you ain't got no one to love. You come running back when you ain't got no one to love. I said, I love you so badly, but I know you hurt me so badly. Said you come running right on back to me. You come running back every time that you're feeling blue. You come running back when you ain't got nothing to do. I said, you're driving me wild, but I know you're using me child. I said, you come running right on back to me. Don't you know the kind of love you've been wanting? That's the kind of love I can't give to you, 'cause you can't be true. You come running back when you ain't got no one to love. You come running back when you ain't got no one to love. I said, I love you so badly, but I know you hurt me so badly. Said you come running right on back to me. running back when you ain't got nothing to do. I said, you're driving me wild, but I know, you're using me, child. I said, you come running right on back to me. You come running back when you ain't got no one to love. You come running back when you ain't got no one to love.
That's the first of two for the LA Teens. LA Teens March 65 release, You'll Come Running Back, and that's on the Decca label, produced and arranged by Gary Usher. When you see that on a 45, you know you want to check those out. Johnny G here as we continue here. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. I'm not going to go that long because of the under the weather here, but we had to head to South Philadelphia for this next group. They have this lone release on the Jamie label. They were also known as the US4, but let's give a listen to their Jamie single from May of 1968. They're called The Emotional Upsets, and their tune's called Maintain Your Cool.
So-called friend, oh, what they tell you, baby, well, just prove to be lies in the end. So think it over, baby, before you speak. Maintain your cool, don't you be nobody's fool. Look at here, baby. Maintain your cool, and don't you be nobody's fool. Now wouldn't they like to see our love reach the peak? Tell you why, 'cause there's jealousy, baby, of a love that's reached its very peak. So think it over, baby, before you speak. Maintain your cool, don't you be nobody's fool. All right, baby, maintain your cool now, and don't you be nobody's fool.
They're called The Emotional Upsets out of South Philly. It's on the Jamie record label May 68 release, Maintain Your Cool. That's what Johnny G has to do. You know, sometimes with these ailments, you kind of like lose it. And I need Barbara to calm me down. She got to come over tomorrow and calm me down. Let's continue for a couple more here for this next group. They're out of San Diego, California. It's their debut single. Came out on the Prince label. Now, the song was written by group members Bobby Brown. He was the bass of the group, and the lead singer, his name is Gary Puckett. This is his first record, which came out on the Prince label. We go to December 65. They're called The Outcasts on Prince Records, and the tune is called Run Away. December 65 there. That is early Gary Puckett. Gary Puckett there on lead. He co-wrote that tune. This group called The Outcasts on the Prince label, song entitled Runaway. Now, Gary Puckett was attending college in San Diego at the time, and he quit college to join this group, and this is before Woman and Lady Willpower and all those other pop tunes. But the group had one more release on the Karate label in May of 1966. As Johnny G is losing his breath here, let's continue here for this next group. They were all students at Eastern New Mexico University. They formed this garage band and recorded on Bill Bell's Gemcore label out of Hollywood, California. Barry Duncanson, he's on guitar. Tim Taylor is also on guitar. Norm Ruckus is on bass. Steve Nagel on drums. And Tommy Moncrief, he's the lead singer. We go to September of 1965 for the Beckett Quintet. This is on the original label, Gemcore Records, because it later on came out on the A&M label. And the name of the tune is called No Correspondence.
You told me that you miss me when I'm gone. You said you'd think about me all night long. You told me that your love for me still grew. What a fool was I for trusting you. Now I've been gone, I know, for a month or better, and I'm still waiting around for your first letter. You told me that you'd write me every day. You said your love for me would never stray, but now I'm having trouble keeping track of all those guys you'll leave behind my unsuspecting back. I'm telling you, you'd best quit fooling around. You better write me a letter that weighs about a pound. You better hand it to your postman right away. 'Cause if I don't hear from you in just one day, I'm gonna run and hide away as far as I can. Don't ask me why, you'll never understand. You told me that you'd write me every day. You said your love for me would never stray, but now I'm having trouble keeping track of all those guys you're getting behind my unsuspecting back. Oh yeah. You better write me. That's all I want from you. Just one letter, babe. You better write me. You better write me, babe. You better write me. I wanna write me. You better write me. You better write me.
September 65 release there. They're called the Beckett Quintet. Tommy Moncrief, he's the lead singer, featured on the original label Gemcore Records. No Correspondence is the name of the tune. And Tommy Moncrief, he went on to be the bass player for Dick Dale. He also wrote and sang the title song in the Gary Busey movie Didn't You Hear back in 1970. Johnny G, almost done here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. This next group, they're from Greenwich Village in New York City. They formed in 1965. We heard a 45 earlier in the show from a former group member. His name was Tommy Flanders, but by this time, when this 45 came out, he'd already left the group. And this is the group's fifth and final release on Verve Folkways, written by the lead singer. His name is Al Cooper, who also played organ on this. This one charted number 96 on Billboard, 66 on Cashbox, but 14 on KFRC in San Francisco, California. Give a listen to the Blues Project, February 67 on Verve Folkways, with No Time Like the Right Time.
happy hours. And in just that moment, change the rain cloud into flowers. And I can see that you're afraid. You think it's some kind of mistake that you made. Well, let me set your heart at ease, 'cause I'm down on my bended knees. Say it to you, no time at the right time. Baby, the right time is now. Said that there's no time at the right time. Don't think that you can love me, 'cause then I'm gonna show you how. No, I'm gonna show you how.
February 67 release there for the Blues Project, Verve Folkways Records. That one there, their fifth and final release on Verve Folkways. No Time Like the Right Time. Well, it's time for Johnny G to bow out of here. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original 60s 45s out of my collection. If you want to get in touch with Johnny G, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Been recording this one on the Ustream broadcaster. I know some of you are having trouble seeing the live stream. I don't know what they're doing, but they extended it to September 17th, so I'll be able to use at least the recording through September 17th, so at least I'll continue with that. Gives me a little bit more time to find a replacement. So you can go to my YouTube account, Johnny G's Vinyl Treasure Show, and you can see all these Ustream broadcasts that I've been recording. But anyway, that's going to do it, folks, and program note, I will not be here live next Saturday. I'll be at a birthday party, so it's either going to be an encore show or someone will be filling in, or it'll be Otto, but it'll be one of those three picks anyway. But we're going to close the show tonight with this a 45 by this 10-piece Chicano band from San Antonio, Texas. It's on the Dynamic label. It's the first of two for this artist. His real name is Jesse Volato, and he wrote this tune, but he's known as Little Junior Jesse and the Teardrops. And this is on the Dynamic label. The closers from 65, Little Junior Jesse and the Teardrops on Dynamic with Give Your Love to Me. Well, that's going to do it, folks, for this evening. And I didn't know I was going to do the show today because I really am feeling punk tonight. But tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Raven, his Relics and Rarities. It all begins at 9 p.m., 9 to midnight, right here on Top Shelf Oldies, and all the other shows here on Top Shelf Oldies. You really get a cool mix of sounds, great DJs every day of the week, and that's going to do it. Thank you, Charlene, for all your help, and everybody have a safe and happy week, and I'll see you in 2 weeks live here on Top Shelf Oldies and the Vinyl Treasure Show. Just want to say, everybody, so long.